So when a CVA finding does come back, how should SAM leaders think about it?
That's a very good question because I suppose my team and I are used to dealing with audit defenses on a quite literally a
Hmm.
weekly basis. But then last year we started seeing a sort of a new kind of request coming from the clients, and we've joined CVA, but we're getting this very significant finding gap, and we're not too sure how to handle it. And here's what the problem and the dilemma for a lot of the CVA customers lies in that they have taken on a partner, one of the usually the audit firms. The audit firms have helped them prepare to best their ability, and they do have constraints. There's no two ways about that. And they the findings that come back then, it is not unusual, particularly what I call the onboarding, the very, very first ELP, where you've
Hmm.
gone from we haven't submitted anything. Yes, there was known problem. There's nearly always a reason you would join CVA. You're walking in there knowing you have a problem, be it you having tools deployed correctly. Maybe you don't have the in skills in side of house. Maybe it was part of an audit settlement, the deal that was done to just get an audit settled with IBM. There's a variety
Hmm.
of reasons why you were there, but there was always a reason. You're rarely walking in there squeaky clean and happy that everything is compliant. And
Hmm.
when a finding is found, the first thing is it's IBM licensing. It is always an expensive finding. You're starting at 250,000 and it's common. It's not even, it's a standard day really
Hmm.
if there's $1 million finding on a reasonably large estate. When you find that finding, the problem the client has then is, I have my partner, they're telling me that I'm short on these licenses. What do I do next? The first thing I would say is you can do something. It's an opinion. It's a bit like the doctors differ. With regard to your
Hmm.
diagnosis, you can get a second opinion.
Hmm.
Even your internal team, if they feel there's something wrong, they can challenge those numbers. So that's the first thing I would say is you absolutely can push back. It is not a foregone conclusion. In
Hmm.
particular, before that information is shared with IBM. By that I mean upload it to the portal. And if the numbers are big enough, get a second opinion. Get it from anywhere else, to be blunt. We
Yep.
provide that service. There are lots of other companies who will provide it, maybe not as good, but
Hmm.
they can certainly have an opinion. Or even your in-house team might look at the numbers and say, hang on, the interpretation, the assumptions made here require further digging. And this is a second cautionary note I would give to any of the clients who are in the CDA program. Your
Hmm.
partner only works with the data you've given. If you say, here's my data and give no context, they must assess it at that level.
Hmm.
Once you get feedback, very often you now have a very clear problem. And you might say, oh, we're short of, I don't know, 1,000 PVU or something. Now's the time to go back to the team and say, hang on, can my in-house, the administrative team, the SAM team, can you dig deeper and provide the CDA partner with more context, with more information? That is your
Hmm.
first port
Hmm.
of call here. Help the partner to help you because they can only measure on what you give them. The second part is even if you've done that and it's still the numbers are uncomfortable. I would add a separate thing, by the way. Very often, the CVA partners will return the ELPs in terms of licensable products, number of cores, or
Hmm.
PVU, or VPC. Convert that into a dollar value or a pound value because it's very easy to get lost in the jargon of licensing. What
Hmm.
you need to do is turn 1,000 PVU into how many dollars is that? If we have to buy licenses, how much is that actually going to cost us? And that's a very
Hmm.
crystallizing moment when suddenly that 1,000 PVU of App Connect turns into $500,000 or
Hmm.
turns into 40 VPC or Cloud Pack or whatever the appropriate metric is. When you
Hmm.
see the dollar value, everything else becomes clear. And suddenly you're going, actually, we do need a second opinion here, or a
Yep.
third and a fourth if required. The other point here is the interpretations differ. Licensing rules are different. The team you're working with, the CDA partner, they have a certain viewpoint. It is common for people like ourselves to differ on that.
Hmm.
The difference is, my team and I have been doing this for 15 years. They've seen quite literally hundreds of license reviews and audits. And
Hmm.
also we have a perspective. We're
Yep.
always looking to reduce the licenses and optimize. So we've collected them, and this, as I said, goes beyond us as well, our peers in this
Hmm.
space. Um, they have learned many, many new tricks. They're not just trying to find compliance, they're trying to reduce costs. So
Yep.
get that opinion. You can always push back. And even when you've done the technical measurement, very often the interpretation of the licensing rules can differ. So
Okay.
get that
Yep.
help. What I would say, don't
Okay.
accept it blindly.